Welcome back everyone to another episode of This Week in Comics. My name is Yule, and every week I talk about comics you should be excited about. All that, and I let you know about the top 5 comics that we sold in the comic store this week. The top 5 comics this week are dominated by Marvel, so let's get into it with number 5, Doctor Strange, number 389, a tie-in to the Damnation miniseries. Coming in at number 4, Avengers number 690, the last part of the No Surrender series. At number 3, we have The Hunt for Wolverine, number 1. This was a prelude to the 4 different Hunt for Wolverine miniseries that are going to be coming out. The runner-up spot at number 2 this week is The Mighty Thor number 706. The epilogue story to the Death of the Mighty Thor storyline. Quite emotional. If you haven't read that one, you should pick it up quick. And taking the top spot this week, back where it belongs, Saga, number 51. Let's talk about some comics you should be checking out. First up this week we have Death or Glory from Image Comics. This is a number 1 issue written by Rick Remender with art by Ben Gall, whose art I am really fond of. This story centers around a woman who wants to save her father's life. It seems he needs surgery, so in order to raise the money, she is going to perform a series of cross-country heists in order to make that happen. Anybody familiar with Rick Remender knows that he does really good action books. He is very prolific, and there are a lot of books out there that everybody enjoys. Ben Gall, you may not know, is a fantastic illustrator. He hasn't done a whole lot of stuff, but the few things that I've seen him do over the years is fantastic. Ben Gall was noted as wanting to do a comic book that had a lot of cool cars in it. So if you are a fan of cars, high-speed chases, and just fantastic illustrations with Rick Remender writing, then this is definitely a book to pick up. Do so. Next up, we have Avengers number 1. I just ended! It seems like just last week Avengers No Surrender ended, the series finished, and now we're getting a brand new book by Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. So in this Avengers, we've got a brand new team. We've got Steve Rogers as Captain America. We've got Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel coming back. She-Hulk is back in the book, and a whole bunch of other characters you're probably hoping to see in the Avengers. This is also going to tie into Marvel Legacy, which was a one-shot that Jason Aaron did earlier in the year. It involves a bunch of previous incarnations of some of the Avengers characters we've come to know and love, so I think there's going to be a whole bunch of that tying in. Ed McGuinness is a fantastic superhero illustrator. He's done a whole bunch of stuff from Superman to Spider-Man to Deadpool. I recommend picking this book up. Maybe you've seen a movie that might excite you to want to pick this up. Do so. You Are Deadpool number 1 is the first part of a 5-part weekly miniseries that Marvel's putting out in between the last issue of Deadpool number 300 and the Deadpool number 1 that's going to be kicked off by Scotty Young. This one is where you get to choose what Deadpool is going to do. In fact, it is being billed as a role-playing game within the Deadpool comic book. You may even need a 6-sider or 2 to make this happen. This is an interesting book. I'm not always the biggest Deadpool fan, but I am interested to see what's going to happen or how it's going to play out and how you're going to be able to play it out. So, if you are, again, a fan of Deadpool, this is definitely one for you. Next up from Image Comics, we have Extremity Volume 2. This is the end of the Extremity 12-part series that came out throughout last year and some of this. It is written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, and it is fantastic. His illustrations are great. The action is fluid, and the blood is flowing. And I really enjoy the story also. It is about 2 tribes that are fighting against each other. You don't really need to know too much more than that. If you are a fan of science fiction, if you are a fan of super violent artwork, this is definitely the book for you. I recommend it highly. Pick it up. And last up this week, we have DC Nation number 0. This is a 25-cent offering that is going to have 3 stories in it. We're going to have a Tom King written story about the Joker finding out about the Bat-Cat wedding and what he thinks about it. It's also going to have a No Justice storyline that Scott Snyder's going to work on. That's the Justice League weekly series that's going to be coming out in May. And there's going to be a Superman story written by Brian Michael Bendis. For those of you that don't know, he's taking over the character with a 6-part weekly series called Man of Steel, and this is the first part to that. So, if any of those are books that you're looking forward to, or if you just want a comic book for a quarter, this is one that you can't miss. Thank you everybody for tuning into another episode. Please do not forget that this Saturday, May 5th, is Free Comic Book Day. Come on in and get some free comics, maybe purchase some of these books I recommended, or just come on in to take advantage of the store-wide sale that we've got going on. Until then, have a good week and we'll see you next time.